Hello, my loves. Okay, welcome back to this video. I'm actually just back from the gym. This week has been so rainy, so I have been the biggest gym rat because what else does one do when it's pouring outside? It's gym, reading some kind of trashy novel, which is the Fourth Wing series. I'm on to the second book now, and also filming and head down and getting some stuff done, which is what this video is all about because it is almost mid-year. Wow. And personally, I feel like I'm in such a game mode, particularly because of one thing. My accountant has set me up with a challenge. I had a meeting with her not too long ago, and we're looking at all of our expenses, all of our finances, where we want to land. And she has a really clear plan for us, which is awesome. Always have someone on your team managing your numbers who is also on board with your big plan. And she's given me a number to focus on. She's like, I really want you to hit this number by the end of 30 June, which is the end of financial year here in Australia. And I'm excited because now I can treat my income as a bit of a game. There is sometimes, you might hear entrepreneurs say, entrepreneurship as a whole is a game. Get in the game, you get your head in the game. So I do like it for this. I have certain moods where I go into months and I think, yes, I'm going to gamify this. And every single part of me right now is wanting to hit that number. So I have this particular goal. I'm going to talk you through how I reverse engineer goals like that, especially something financial. Like we can hold so much beliefs around money and so much thoughts around where we can get clients from or how clients are going to sign up to us. But I just want to talk you through my process. I feel it's really grounded. It keeps me really focused. And I just know that I want to finish this year at a number that I'm genuinely proud of. And part of that means being way more intentional about how I'm earning the money, what I'm sharing out there in terms of a message, and also where money is going out. Because obviously what we're talking about with our accounting team is the net amount, not just what we're receiving. So being really careful about our spend to the end of financial year, but also it's not saying we're not spending. In fact, we are, but what we're spending on is going to be the fuel of what brings the money in. So the main thing that we're actually going to be spending money on, I know some of you are going to be asking, is going to be ad spend. We haven't actually spent a ton of ads at all for the year and maybe even longer than that. But our budget for the next 60 days is going to be a lot higher on ad spend. And I'm talking specifically about meta ads than what we've put behind the business in a really long time. But it's not just out of desperation or like we need for this to happen or out of recklessness, but it is a very clear strategy. We've had this actually in the works behind the scenes for months now, thinking about what is the product. So then I had to go build the product, and what is the message. Now we're going to build the videos and the messaging, and what is the budget. And we picked up a course to learn how to better put together our meta ads for this particular type of client to come through. So all of it is really intentional. And we knew that towards the end of this financial year, we would be putting more money behind ads of some kind. So I'm really excited to share how all of that goes, because I know that a lot of you guys are always interested to see the journey around ads and whether or not it's worth it. But because this kind of thing can look really complicated from the outside, I actually want to lay something out very simply for all of us so that, I can walk you through how I reverse engineer a revenue goal. And I'll use some of the numbers that are currently in and around our business and, what's coming through. So let's head on over to the iPad. My goal to the end of 30 June is to make 50K in revenue. So I am an Aussie, but we charge in US dollars. I've talked about this before. I charge in US dollars because it is the currency of the internet, and it just has always been the way for us. So we do have a US based business as well, but this is sometimes confusing for some of my clients. Like, what? Don't you have an Aussie accent? Why do you charge in US? That's why. And honestly, I think if you are an internet based business and you want a global audience, US dollar is a lot less confusing for the wider market rather than just the currency of where I live. Okay. So this is the target. Now, the first thing I do is to look at what is already coming in. So the question is, what's coming in. So for some of you guys, you will have a business model that has monthly recurring revenue. People that are on payment plans. So if you sell a $5,000 coaching package, they may pay $1,000 a month for the next 5 months. So that's what I mean by monthly recurring revenue. Now, the way that I've set up my business is that most people pay in full, which is such a vibe, meaning also that I don't really have that much in terms of recurring revenue because I receive that lump sum in full. So if there's a $10,000 coaching package, my clients will pay $10K in full. It's very rare these days that we have, an ongoing payment plan sort of situation, but some people need it. I totally understand. And that totally works well. It's just not something that I personally market as part of my coaching brand. Now, when I look at the recurring revenue at the moment for June, I'd say it's sitting at around 5,000. So we have, a couple of clients who are on payment plans. 5K-ish is coming in for that month. And that is already in my mind something that I can count towards the monthly goal even before June actually starts. So my gap is 45K. So it's a somewhat new dollar amount. 45K is what I'm looking at. So when I look at this, I go, okay, this is cool. Like I can actually use that number as a baseline to predict where it is that I want to be able to see the sales coming in. One thing I do know is that I'm going to tick this here because I've got this in the plan. I do know that we are going to have a June sale. So end of financial year sale. EOFY. So you guys can stay tuned for what that looks like. And I'm predicting about 10K to come in. That is a generous number, but I just know from all of my sales and the low tickets that I now have inside of my business with courses and ebooks and, mini masterclasses and whatnot, I know that I can definitely reach this goal. It does feel like a stretch, and I would say, put yourself out there, give yourself those bigger numbers to aim towards, because when your brain sees a number like this, or whatever your goal is and whatever your number is, it will do everything it can to solve for that number. It will solve for X. And I'm excited. Like sometimes it feels uncomfortable because you start asking how, but that's not our job. Our job is to be clear about the number. So that's my number. Yes, it's a stretch. I am not allowing myself to believe I can't make it or that it feels scary. Instead, I'm thinking about what can I do to actually have this number become a reality. All right, so out of this, I also know that I have a mastermind, which is Daily Sales Mastermind. And typically we get 12 to 15 people coming in, which is so cool. And this is about 2K. Fantastic. So these, by the way, the mastermind clients come from my low ticket into high ticket. I talk about this all the time. That whole model of low ticket to high ticket is literally what the Daily Sales Mastermind is about. So just so you know. Okay, now let's call that then, if I have between 12 to 15 coming in at $2,000, that's about $20,000 to $25,000. Lovely. It's looking good. It is looking good. I also have another client who wants to do a VIP day with me, and that's going to be $3,500 coming in. Let me look at my board here. Yes, I also have another brand deal, and that's going to be $2,500. I also have offers that have gone out there. These are individuals and clients who have done one-off sessions with me. Maybe they're in my mastermind, and I have offered them a private coaching container with me, and they have, certain customizations around them. So between the ones that I've actually gone out there and I've emailed, I'd say that, let me have a think about this. So we've got, okay, so it's about 10K offers out. So I'm also going to tick that. And then I also always have affiliate income. Not a huge amount, but people who go ahead and take up the systems that I'm using, for example, they might buy equipment that I've talked about before, or I've got something else set up with a software company, money just basically rolls in, like Riverside, for example, or like Kartra, or I also have affiliate income relationships with service providers like my solicitor, my lawyer. They will pay me a portion of their clients that have come through me. This comes in without fail, and I'll be modest here. Maybe it's between like 1K to 2K, depending on, obviously the affiliates that we are bringing in. All right, I just did a quick calculation there. And so we've landed at 53,000 for everything that I have basically just written here on the iPad, which is awesome. But a big component of that is the June sale going really, really well. So for this June sale, and also, to just bring generally more traffic to my shop page and to my Instagram account, for example, this is where we will be running ads. So just seeing that number 53K, most of it will be pocketed. With the June sale and with ads, obviously there will be a net amount because we're putting a portion aside to pay the Meta Ads team. So this is how I think about it, not as one massive scary number that I'm just pulling out of thin air, but as a set of smaller, clear actions that have a dollar value to it. My clear actions are run the June ads, which means I need to record some content for those ads. With the mastermind, talk about it, send out the Google Doc brief, get people interested in what the mastermind is all about. Follow up on the VIP day payment, follow up on the brand deal payment, follow up on the offers that are out there at the moment, and just knowing affiliate income is going to come in, but I might want to step on the pedal there a little bit, promote something that I know will eventually come back to me in terms of affiliate income. So they are all small actions that lead to the big goal. And when you can see it this way, the goal stops feeling really overwhelming and it starts to feel more like something that you can almost checklist. Checklists have a purpose. For me anyway, it feels like I can kind of take the emotion out of it. So this is why I am so deliberate about how money comes in and where it's going to go out right now, because I just know every single dollar I spend between now and the end of the financial year, I want that to work as hard as possible, and I want that to go a really long way, which brings me to something that I actually want to show you. The reason I can make this call with such confidence is because running the business for as long as I have, I've been made really aware of where the cash flow is actually going. And when you're spending intentionally, you absolutely know your numbers. So it's not uncommon for a lot of business owners to spend thousands of dollars every single month on expenses, especially once you've got a small team and you've got ads and you've got tech and systems and software and technology and conferences and coaches and consultants that you pay, like the list goes on. So to have a couple of $1,000s in expenses, maybe multiple 5 figures in expenses, and even 6 figures in expenses once you start growing into, especially feeding into advertising, it's really not that uncommon. And I wish that I had known that when I started my business 8 years ago, because the thought of spending 10 grand a month was nauseating. Like I just felt this wave of nausea. Like, I can't believe that's going towards all these things. But you see how the business thrives when you make the right financial decisions, and it's obviously going towards something that grows the business. The whole, you've got to spend money to make money, but just be careful about where that's going. I want to show you guys something. This is pay.com.au. This is a business payments platform that we use, and I'm so grateful because pay.com.au is our sponsor for this video, and I'm genuinely so grateful to be partnering with them because it has been such a game changer in the way that we feel much smarter around the financial decisions that we're making as our company begins to grow and to scale out. So I want to show you guys to come along with me to punch in some numbers in a very, very useful calculator. So let's head on over to the calculator now. And this is where our business expenses like software subscriptions, supply invoices, insurance, tax payments, all the things, they are literally run through pay.com.au. And what happens is I earn my full credit card points plus optional pay rewards points on top of every single dollar that I spend. So to us, it's an absolute no-brainer. Now, what you can do in the calculator is it will say, how do you want to pay? So you can pay through your linked bank account, or you can pick the cards that you're using. So I'm just going to select Visa. I'm going to select that we use, I don't know, just as a Lucky Dip. We use NAB Rewards card. This isn't our card, by the way, because I just want to keep things relatively private here. But just so you can see the calculator, put in your details, obviously, but it's so cool. Now, with business expenses, let's just chuck in $10,000. Don't balk at that because, like I mentioned earlier, it's really easy to get to this expense level every single month as you're growing out your coaching business for sure. Monthly payments, I want to view my results in points, calculate the rewards, and here are the annual results. You'll see here 150,000 airline points, approximately $5,250 in value, and then you'll see the net fees after tax there as well. And it breaks it down. It is actually so useful. And then obviously depending on the different cards that you have, which is I found really interesting because look at the difference when you use one card versus another. So it really gives you a little bit more of a clue as to where can I get better rewards? Am I using the right cards and payment systems to have every dollar go a lot further? Once you've done your calculation, you can move across to the next tab, which says rewards. You can see here, calculator on one side, rewards on another. And I love this because this is where you can really start to think about your vision board and how your points will help you pay for your luxury escape somewhere. You can also redeem it for products, but I personally am a flights girly. Like I want to go overseas. Even just looking at Melbourne to London return business, or you're looking at Brisbane to Hong Kong return business and how many air miles that is. So you'll be able to see that. Melbourne to Sydney, 24,000 Qantas points. And you can just have a little searchy search and a little browsy browse, and it just makes everything so much more tangible and so much more exciting as well. So go and check out the rewards tab. Also tells you exactly how it works as well. I'm so grateful for the exclusive deal for my community. Thank you so much to the pay.com.au team. I'm going to leave the exclusive link below, and I also want you to use the code FLOW10. And what they've given us is that you will earn 10,000 pay rewards points when you process $10,000 or more in your first 30 days of signing up. So that deal is only sitting there for my community. You will not find it through a regular search. The link is in the description. So I want to bring it back to the mission because as we're thinking about how do we hit this big financial goal, whatever your financial goal is, be clear about where every single dollar is going. I can make the call to spend more on ads without it feeling reckless, A, because it's been a strategy that's been in play, and B, because I'm using really smart financial systems that help my rewards go a lot further. That is the difference between growing with intention and just chucking $100 towards an ad, hoping that somehow it'll go viral, it'll reach the right person, that somehow this is your big break out there. I mean, you may have heard stories that that's happened, but for the most part, you're so smart. You've come such a long way. You have an incredible business head on you. Otherwise, you would not have started this business. So make decisions from that really grounded place, not just the hope and pray strategy. We're headed to the final stretch of the mid-year. There is still everything to play for. You guys now know what I'm working towards. I want to hear what you're working towards. Let me know in the comments what it is that you are aiming for, whether it's just, more clients or a greater result with social media, or maybe it is a dollar amount you want to put it out there and you're calling that in. Let me know in the comments. And if you love this video and you want more of it, please hit subscribe and the like button. It goes such a long way, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.